what follows is a story completely made up. In order to celebrate the spooky season, Booquets Productions has decided to create a short story for all to enjoy. We would like to thank everyone who's willing to give it a watch, Bouquets that worked as a much needed voice reason, as well as the whole team who dedicated their time for this silly side project. We would also like to thank Miss Pillow for creating an opportunity which blossomed into this story. Please enjoy.
This time, there will be no happy endings. No painted fields of beautiful flowers. No lovers basking in the brightest sunlight. These worn, tattered pages hold only drama and broken promises. All that awaits within this story is tragedy, and at the end of the long road, irreconcilable despair.
What's it? Alias Anono.
Do the Bouquets have to fight to the death?
No! Bookies don't have to fight to the death. Why? Actually, no, it's a lie. Actually, now I think about it.
We were blind. Until that very moment, we were simply happy. Happy with showing our love. Happy with being loved in return. Trying our best to give as much as we received. Believing that it was enough. It was a resplendent love, given out our own free will. We just wanted to make her happy, to hear her laugh, to show how much she meant to all of us. We stood head in hand, believing that just one person wouldn't have a heart big enough to love her in her entirety. That is why we tried to do it together, like brothers and sisters in arms, a parade of ghosts that merged into one specter in order to become enough.
I can't wait to see you again today. It seems like it's been made.
2 days a week is rough. I can't help but miss her every second that she's gone.
But it was never enough.
Blinded by our loves, we turned into frauds. If only one can stand by her side after 30 years will pass, what will happen to the rest of us? After 30 years, will we have a heart big enough to mirror the one that she gave us? Even if we wanted to answer that, the truth was something that clung to our throats like a lump of coal. No matter how hard any of us tried to cough it out, the only thing that left our mouths were clouds of dust. This awful realization was like an eel that settled deeper down, spreading its slippery mucus all around. This is why we agreed to put it aside.
Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe we talked about it more. It could have been different.
What's the point thinking about that now? After all this time, be happy. Tomorrow our courtship period is over. This long 30 years will finally have passed by.
They were right. Let's just take the final swing and be done with it.
It's almost funny. We laughed in the open about all the joy that will follow when we finally be able to put the ring on that slender hand. All of the promises, all the plans. We piled up our dreams so high that they would be a mountain with the top reaching far beyond the clouds. But maybe, in reality, we just tried to bury the ugly truth beneath a hopeful mound. How very foolish we were. Now it's nothing more than a totem, which stands as the proof of our very own hubris. How much it wobbles on this windy night. It looks like it might topple over at any second now.
I would like to raise a toast.
Spoke one of the specters, probably trying to break the gloomy charm.
For all of the efforts, for all of the memories, for all of my fellow bouquets, it wouldn't be the same if even one of us was missing.
True. Couldn't have asked for better companions on this wicked road. Even during sharper turns, we always managed to steer clear from the rocky coast.
And we always had more than enough hands for every single project that came to our minds. Friends like that are a blessing to have.
Before we knew it, we all took turns elevating our found family in cheers and chants, as if trying to balance the weight of our sins that will come to pass. It felt quite nice. It was as if, even for a moment, everything went back to normal. Well, not our normal, but even if there were only sad smiles on the faces all around, it was nice to reminisce for this one last time, together, with bouquets, just like we used to for these years that passed us by in a flash. Alas, ruckus caused by our graveyard shift toasts quickly died down. Soon enough, the only thing that could be heard was the clinging of empty glasses. With the green liquid slowly drying out, there was no more words that needed to be shared. What else could we say at this point? I'm sorry? Please forgive me? It would be far too cruel. What we were about to do wasn't something that could be allowed to happen. We were about to bring one sacred moment to uphold another. It would become a sin that won't be washed away until the very end. All in the name of a greater good. At least, that's the lie that keeps spinning around and around in that empty head of mine. It repeats in an endless loop as I try to save myself from going completely insane.
How about we just don't do this? Doesn't have to end this way. We can still find another way.
Are you trying to betray what we worked for these last 30 years?
It's enough. We made a promise. This wound was festering for all that time. We knew better than anyone else that this is how this story will end.
This is our final stand, the last challenge. Once this nightmare is over, there will be only happiness to be had. At this point, there is simply no turning back.
Who knew that this is how our story will end? With a table of empty cups and no one saying their final goodbye, it sounds quite lonely. Bouquets, moments ago sitting side by side, were now standing at more than an arm's length. We look nervously at each other's faces, faces that we can't recognize anymore. With spectral bodies melting within the veil of night, only colorful flowers are being reflected in the dying embers of the candlelight. But it's alright. It has to be this way. This is the lie that we all share at the final moment before our hell begins.
We do it out of love, not out of sight.
There was no warning when the first body flew across the garden, crashing on the bench that was probably still warm.
It was the first sin committed, one that will repaint this night.
How many of us stood in place after that moment? How many followed the example set just now? I couldn't tell. I couldn't even understand what I did at that time. All I could hear were screams of fellow bouquets all around, a mad gurgling sound, and a loud thud of death's sight. With each swing, flowers scattered all around, and ghostly bodies ended out of sight. And the chewing sound. a terrible echo that reverberated all around, the sound of flowers being ripped apart that echoed through the night. But it was alright. It was how it was meant to end. Otherwise we would just come back, the same ways we did thousands of times before. But with this, we could truly become one. We could finally make her happy as it was meant to be. It was a hell made by our own design. And what comes on the other side should be a thing of beauty beyond what we have represented so far. When all of the noise turned hollow and dull, I was the only one that remained, a lone creature basking in the morning light, standing on top of a field of flowers mimicking the shade of a rising sun. I'm finally the only one. I'm finally the only one.
Spoke the monster that never was, unable to understand that their path wasn't the one that she wanted to lead into her life.
Wow. Good morning, Saret here. First of all, I would like to say that I'm sorry for writing such silly story. What began as a small comment made by Miss Pillow has turned into this. All because I got a bit silly, just a little bit silly. Still, since for all the writing fall upon me. But there were many wonderful bouquets that took part in this fun side project. Entry took care of the mixing, Lee worked as our tech and sound design guy, Sam made such a wonderful art, and we got so many bouquets that used their wonderful voices to make this story into something way more than what it was in the beginning. I would say that we had a lot of fun making this one. Please be excited for our next project. Happy Halloween!
Good morning. My name is Leo and I would like to show genuine remorse for my actions. As the team lead for this project, I dragged my fellow bouquets over burning coals, all in order to make my vision come true. I made sure to find the most visceral sound effects I could, and I also took it upon myself to organize the efforts of the whole team while giving everyone a chance to participate. I'm truly sorry for my mindless actions. Enough of that. To summarize, I'm really sorry that I made a scary video for Halloween. Don't worry, according to what was actually said during the space, this was just an intense session of arm wrestling. No bouquets were harmed in the making of this video. Mostly. As a token of my apology, here is a short trailer for the upcoming Christmas project. Now for the actual trailer.